pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for the sick, handicapped, recently departed, and military personnel of our community. Roll call.
Mr. Henderson?
Here.
Mr. Petroselli?
Here.
Mr. Colosimo?
Here.
Mr. Gallarducci?
Here.
Mr. Verducci? Here. Mr. Shashowski?
Here.
Ms. Cimaroli?
Here.
Mayor Copeland?
Here.
Solicitor McDermott?
Here.
Engineer Howell?
Here.
I'm Joe Power. Chief King?
Here.
Assistant Chief Maglin?
Here.
And Director Miller?
Here.
Yes, there's a couple people signed up.
Thank you. Bob Pryor.
Hi. Hi. I just have a range of other things that trouble me to take too long. Has anybody been looking into a memorial plaque or something for Jeff Ripnick? It's the guy that used to play.
Yeah, that's taken care
That's
of. There'll be some announcements on
that
that.
was very sad. The other thing, have you guys on, I think it was a planning commission meeting, I showed you the drawing about the importance of getting the parking authority to buy that vacant lot on the corner of Washington Avenue and James Street, so a 4-story building is built there. Have you done anything on that yet? That's really critical.
Yeah. We personally haven't made an effort to buy the lot within this last month.
Well, the parking authority,
The parking authority was attempting to buy the lot, yeah.
you mean can you guys buy it instead?
No.
Well, I guess you could probably go.
I thought you were asking me if we did.
No, I was going to say, I think the park authority has the right to condemn because it's for that purpose, but you might be able to add or whatever. I'm sure that the doctor's going to want more than $150,000 for the property. That's, I guess, we paid for it.
Right.
You know, but you guys work at it, but I just want to emphasize that is important. And the other thing I wanted to ask you is, with the new 7-lane bridge down there, as you know, there's a great opportunity to create an impressive, beautiful section of the business district for Bridgeville by lining the street from the post office down to the bridge with trees on both sides, not in rows, not on the sidewalks, but in the properties on each side, which about 3 or 4 years ago I had talked to all but I think one of the property owners and they agreed to do that. And the other thing I was going to mention, if you light the trees up with uplights, and I just mentioned this to Mike, there's a way to do it inexpensively. Don't bury the lights in the ground where they can't be moved as the trees grow. There's something else I was going to mention. Oh yeah, one other thing. Different people told me about the widening of the north end part of Washington Avenue, I think from Collier to Presley Road intersection. I advise you not do that. If you do that part of the road widening, it's going to put you in a bad position to do the whole comprehensive plans solution to the Washington Pike. It's a solving a traffic problem. You've got to make it, as you've heard me mention 100 times, it's got to be a 3-community comprehensive plan that will be good economically for all 3 communities. And I think that's about it. The Bar Hill Road Bridge, that's, what, 5 years away, maybe?
I believe this is 2026.
Are you with, since you now know that the Bar Hill Road Bridge is really causing flooding, it's the Culvert Street, Person Street culvert, are you thinking about adding that ramp from the Bar Hill Bridge intersection down to Baldwin Street?
I don't think that's in their design. Well, we haven't even seen their designs yet.
No, they're just in the process of hiring an engineering firm to do the design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's still very,
Very early.
The reason I'm mentioning that with the buildings torn down on Baldwin Street, the area right behind your restaurant, next to the,
Not my restaurant, but
oh, you know, the area by the Italian place, there's a huge area there. You might be able to get one of the notable food stores in Allegheny County, like Kohl's, to move in there if you provide them.
Those properties are restricted, we can't do anything. We can't.
Well, it would have to be a county state project where they can condemn the property for Ridgeville. But you might be able to get one of the major food stores like Kohl's to move in there, which would create an anchor store to rebuild that business. Anyway, just an idea for you guys to think about.
Yeah, thanks, Bob.
Okay, all right,
Yep,
thank
thank
you,
you.
thank you.
Susie
Pickard.
Pickard, okay, thank you.
You okay?
Oh, yeah, thanks, Bob. Hi, I'm Susie Pickard with the Italian Club, and I just had a couple questions. We had repeated issues with your contractors that you had for the borough with regards to the Italian Club, where they were dumping stuff on our parking lot. They were parking their trucks and their machinery there. They were, there was debris with boards, nails sticking out of them. We had like 3 different members have ruination of their tires to that. So I saw that Stash Contracting, am I correct on that, is a contractor? So, and Joe was a huge help with us. We had multiple emails back and forth, and we saw the emails that you sent to them, and then they would promise something and they would follow through. And then we also had a significance for us, loss of income due to the fact that they had their machinery, like right now, there's still this huge machine there and all these tires just thrown on Margaret Street, which makes it hard for our customers to get past. They were taking up half of our parking lot for most of it. We tried to be nice and good neighbors about it, but it was a little, it's a little difficult. My main question that I had for the council was, has there been a decision reached yet, if I were to take this to the magistrate, on whether the building that's across from the Italian Club, that's between our parking lot and the parking lot for the Owls Club, if that demolition was supposed to be through the borough or through Path of Blasio. We're thinking about maybe going to Maureen over some of these issues.
So if you're talking about 415 Margaret Street,
Yes. Yes,
the borough did not have anything to do with that.
that's not, so it's Path of Blasio and
Yeah.
Stash Contracting.
Correct.
Okay, that was my main question, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John McCann.
Good evening. I want to give a little report of Day on the Avenue car show. And as a result, I have a little present for all of you, which is something I haven't done in a bunch of years. The dash plaques that were given out to all car owners, compliments of Warshall Funeral.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I still have the other one from this time. It's
Thank
so
you.
nice. Thank you, John.
Okay, we had our most successful car show ever. As you know, this was the 14th day on the avenue here over the past 16 years, with 2 being canceled due to COVID. But we had our most successful ever. 160 cars, which we never have had that many before. 128 registered, if you will. The vast majority of them had 2 people per vehicle. Even our borough manager brought his antique Jeep down and won an award. So we had a very, very successful affair. We had a Day on the Avenue committee meeting to wrap things up. And was informed that some powers to be do not want to keep it the same day next year, the day before Father's Day. Does council know anything about that?
I'm one of them.
I figured as much. From a car hobby, car show standpoint, we have things scheduled all year long, and the day before Father's Day has been Bridgeville for 14 years. Our committee voted to keep it as is, unanimously. It's up to you, of course, whether you want to change it, whatever date you want to change it to.
John, let me ask you, when you scheduled your calendar, were you aware of, when you were scheduling that, were you aware of that we were trying to get that changed for this coming year, or this past year?
We were aware, but the vote was to keep it for 2022, the day before
Correct,
Father's
but
Day.
you knew that that was gonna be a conversation.
That was
for
going to be a
23.
conversation, so that's why I'm addressing it now. Okay? That
So you don't have 23 scheduled yet?
There's
You're
a
just-
lot of things.
You're trying to plan it.
My point, Joe, is there's a lot of things that are the same weekend, the same days, year after year after year. Example, yesterday was Washington Cruiser Super Cruise, first Sunday of August, always. And those are things that have occurred in this hobby for years, including us for 14 years being the day before Father's Day. Now, again, it's up to you guys if you want to change it. If there's a conflict that will hold down the number of cars, or maybe not even any cars at all, which would be canceling the car show completely. That's up to you, again. But if you had 160 cars and the vast majority 2 people, you're talking 250 to 300 people going down through the vendors and buying from the vendors. We understand the vendors sold out of food by 3:30. So I was informed. So I'm just saying, it's up to you. We highly recommend to keep it as is. If we have to cancel the car show, then you have to cancel the car show.
John, just so, from my consumption, so there are not alternate days that the cars could?
Sure, there's always alternate days, but my point in saying that is the alternate days may already be taken by another event somewhere else. One of the discussions that we had back in February, if you will, and some of you that attended, was to move it to this Saturday before, which would be, I think, the 11th of June or whatever it might happen to be next year. That is Beaver Falls Day, and anybody and everybody in the hobby is going to Beaver Falls that day. We would be lucky if we had, 40 or 50 cars here that day. And we move to the weekend after. That is the GM Nationals in Carlisle. Then there's the 4th of July weekend, and then there's the first weekend of July, or second week of July, which is Mount Lebanon's show. So it's for us in the hobby, it's the same thing year after year after year after year on the same days and the same weekends. Therefore, again, I highly recommend keep it as is.
Has anyone brought up the idea of possibly just having our Bridgeville Car Show
No.
on that same day continuously and just make Community Day a separate event?
That was never discussed. That's all.
Well, that's an option.
That is a possibility.
That's an option that needs to be maybe looked at further.
It's up to
Because
you.
we do have a lot of car enthusiasts in Bridgeville, myself being one of them. And I know my predilection with the date was it's Father's Day, and we do lose a lot of community members on Father's Day. So I would like maybe us to explore the option of maybe a Bridgeville cars on the avenue.
Do that, sure. It's a
Contribute
possibility,
to
sure.
Bridgeville Day on the avenue.
As long as you keep it from a car standpoint, same day. But again, if the food vendors ran out of food by 3:15, 3:30, they were selling a lot of things
Right.
that weekend also.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you for your time.
Thank you. And it was a great show this year. There was a lot of good. Okay, regular order of business.
Mr. President, would you mind adding me?
Go ahead, Pat.
Thank you. We very much appreciate your accommodating me, sir.
Yep.
Especially because I'm here to talk about parking. We have a wonderful little town, and it has a parking authority. as you are aware, the business community finds difficulty with both the traffic and the parking. I don't think that's any news to anyone here. There's not an easy solution. I've been working on it for 15 years. I've been where you are. There's not an easy solution. Mr. Council President, I direct this at you. And again, I thank you for letting me come up here.
I might be regretting it.
Exactly. You are the singular individual that appoints people to and removes people from the parking authority. They serve at your pleasure. Okay? And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've got a great council president, and I'm not suggesting the council's not involved in getting that person in. But he is the person who appoints and removes. At present, there is only one individual on the parking authority who is actually from the business district and actually uses the parking lots, and that would be Eddie Polino. The other individuals are good, fine people. They are good, and they are there volunteering their time to try and improve an intractably difficult problem. I see that you have on your agenda tonight a resolution to recommend that the parking authority adopt a budget, a balanced budget, by a certain date. Mr. President, the problem is not a budget. The problem is an approach to parking. It's difficult. If you want to have a functional parking authority, you need to get people on it, and you need to give it the people to solve this difficult problem for the business community. That's why you have parking authority, is so that it can go out there and solve the problems. On the other hand, it is a very reasoned, rational thing to say we don't need a whole other layer of government. We want to dissolve the parking authority. And that is an excellent idea. It is an excellent idea to get rid of bureaucracy, to get rid of another layer of government. However, if you do that, not Mr. Cower, not Mr. King, not Chief Public Works, I'm sorry, not Chief King, sorry. I apologize, I'm pretty good at that. Okay? Not Manager Cower, not the Foreman of Public Works. It is council. It is council that is going to have to solve the parking problem. I think you're up for it. Okay? It may not be yours, Nick, but you're certainly aware of how a business runs. Mr. Gallarducci may not be using the parking lot, but he certainly understands parking a lot. Okay? Mr. Petrocelli remembers how parking affected his business. And I'm certain that the mayor and Mr. Colassa will also have some good insight to it. My point is that if you want to dissolve the parking authority, do it. If you want the parking authority to succeed, do that, Mr. Henderson. But pick it, lead, and do it. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pat. Let me reply to you and tell you that if you, I know you do show up occasionally at the parking authority meetings. There's at least 5, maybe sometimes 6, and maybe all of us are at every meeting. We're invested in making the parking authority work. It's not as simple just dissolve them and do away with them. It's not that easy. You know, you make it sound easy for me to just dissolve, okay? But someone's got to run that authority, or someone's got to run the parking in town. So we are actively looking for different ways to solve the issues that we have for parking in this community. So, you know, to just suggest to do away with it and then it'll be fixed, that's not going to happen. So,
Okay.
we appreciate your comments.
Thank you for your comment.
All right, let's move on. I need a motion to approve the July 11th, 2022 regular meeting minutes as submitted.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. President, I'm abstaining. I wasn't.
Likewise, I was not here. I'll abstain. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. I need a motion to approve the August 2022 bill list.
I'll move. Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to approve the August 12th, 19th, 26th, September 2nd, and 9th, 2022 payrolls.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Opposed? The motion passes. Need a motion to authorize the disbursement of $37,207.03 from the sewer fund to State Pipe Services for partial payment number 2, and the authorized additional work performed of the 2021 sanitary sewer O&M CCTV program.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? The motion passes. Need a motion to authorize the disbursement of $65,005.13 from the capital project fund to Stash Contracting for partial payment number 2 of the Baldwin and Margaret Streets demolition project.
That's so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Can I ask
Opposed?
a question, please?
Yes.
Kevin, I'm sorry. What is the remaining things that they need to do? Is it mainly just,
Yeah, that wasn't through LSC. That's the last gateway project, so I can answer it.
oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. What was your question? Was the,
Just what else is left on this project that covers the 29 grand?
yeah, there's 30,000 still being capital cost. There is a number of punch list items, and there's some restoration work that has to be made related to some damage to sidewalks and a flood.
That was my next question. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We are not going to address item number 6 on the agenda. We did not receive a bill for that particular agenda item. Need a motion to recommend to the Bridgeville Parking Authority to create, adopt, and implement a balanced operating budget for 2023, no later than December 19th, 2022.
I'll move.
I'll second.
All in favor? Opposed? That motion passes. Need a discussion and consider action formalized by authorizing the solicitor to prepare and advertise an ordinance that would codify the permanent no parking zone on Station Street that was created for the experimental regulations permitted by resolution number 2022-12 on June 13th, 2022.
I would like to so move to authorize the solicitor to prepare and advertise an ordinance that would codify the permanent no parking zone on Station Street.
Wait. Go ahead. Is there a motion already?
It's a motion.
I'm making a motion.
I have a remark.
Need a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
I mean, the way the motion is that it's a permanent, no parking, period. There is no stimulation of the people who has loaded and unloaded here. Is that it's not on the ordinance, it's not on the motion. I don't think it's too clear, just to terminate this way that ended. I made last month I made this comment. Mr. Petruccelli, we noticed that the public safety committee studied the parking issue to recommend temporary restriction, and he stated me that it will continue to study and oppose and hopes the traffic and the construction and so forth our community, so parking there can be restored. Now, I understand this was only my idea of make this comment, but the motion, it's not clear for me, so I would have to
So
not
at the-
vote in favor of this
So at
because
this time,
we don't have the time there for the loading under.
we also don't have a time for when the traffic's gonna end with the
But
construction.
it's something that should be specified. We have furthermore on
And
Station
that's what
Street.
ordinance are for.
Furthermore on Station Street, excuse me, furthermore, other than that, on Station Street, we have place, the former DA Motor, which is a printing place, which we have 15 minutes loaded, downloading. I mean, here they don't mention anything. It's okay, you guys do what you want, but I cannot vote for this.
Roll call.
Sure. Why not?
Mr. Solicitor, can you give us some insight on the loading and unloading part of it? Do we need to put that in there, or is that?
Well, I think,
Was it understood that
well, under the motor vehicle code, and the chief can chime in as well, it's generally not, the standing, stopping, and parking are different concepts. So, in strictly no parking zone, would just be no parking. There's an argument that that does not prohibit stopping. However, to be more specific, you can also employ the same language that the council did last year, actually, on a similar ordinance where you basically said no parking, comma, except also establish a 15-minute unloading loading zone at the same location.
it's a rather large location to allow anyone to park wherever, unload wherever they want, specifically in a turning lane?
You could, and actually there's a separate section on unloading and loading zones, so if one wished to, and I'm not advocating, I'm just interpreting the ordinance provisions. We have actually a provision number 407, that's actually not been populated, but where you could insert the allowable hours and locations of the 15-minute loading zone. So if you wanted to have, a no parking zone that's, just 200 yards long, but have within that some section of it that you define as allowing loading and unloading, you can
Like
certainly,
the turning lanes and that, and
you
just,
can certainly do that.
Well, you can't do it in the turning lane.
right, I said, well,
Cannot, regardless of what, according to,
but people are parking there now,
well,
before this time.
that's not our job. The police would have to definitely will sign them that. I mean, there's so many feet from the turning lane, we all know that. But anyway, whatever, I made my comment. To me, it's that the motion is not really specified what the tenants will be able to do. That's all you guys. You can leave the motion as they say, whatever. I make my comment.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We do a roll call?
Sure. Mr. Petroselli,
No.
Mr. Colosimo,
Yes.
Mr. Gallarducci,
Yes.
Mr. Verducci.
Yes.
Mr. Shashowski.
Yes.
Ms. Cimaroli.
Yes.
Mr. Henderson.
Yes. Okay, I need a motion to accept and pay any commission due July 2022 real estate tax collectors report.
I'll move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Need a motion to acknowledge receipt of the July 2022 treasurer's report.
I'll move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to accept the July 2022 police report.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor? Opposed? And motion carries. All right, committee reports, administration. Nick?
I have nothing to report this time, thank you.
Thank you. Finance, Joe Verducci.
I don't have very much to report today, other than we did get the grant for the body cameras, and the operation of them are being put in place. And the liquid fuels audit, fund audit was completed, no findings or observations, and the final report will be submitted to us to review, I assume, next month, Joe. Other than that, that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Joe. Parks and Recreation, Joe Colosimo.
Not too much either. The paving down Chartiers Park's complete. As of this morning, the lines in that weren't painted yet, and we had to put in some new light fixtures down there. It looks really nice. One thing I'm curious about, they didn't pave going up under the entrance to Chartiers Street because they're gonna put in a new entranceway. I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with that. I'm gonna make it cut there or something.
I can send the council the plan. It shows the entrance being relocated a little bit more towards the bend at Chartier Street. The last house on the left, that little white house, the new driveway, according to the PennDOT plan, is rather right across from that driveway to keep it there.
Okay. And you'll be able to turn left and right. So that'll be nice. Is there any way to, I don't go a little higher on the hill, because there's this one bad spot.
I think we can patch that, it just would have been wasteful to just
Yeah.
ripped off. And it's roughly about a year and a half. So, but I can, because it is bad.
But it is really nice how everything, I like how they cut in those couple of, not islands, but parts to slow down the traffic or going through the parking lot and kind of make it more defined, because people just park everywhere.
I think once the lines painting's done,
Yeah.
it'll be a lot
Yeah.
easier to understand.
No, they did a really nice job.
That's John's. He's good.
Yeah, looks nice.
And, Joe, just as a warning, the BAA wanted to do something down there after that was done, putting a logo somewhere or something. So I said, talk to Joe about it first, so, just to give you a little heads up.
Anything else, Jim?
Yeah, up, Cook's Gold Park, they had to remove a couple very large dead pine trees. They're gone. So either they'll put new trees there, or maybe we're gonna take more pavement and put a couple more parking spaces. Because the last movie, there was a few people parking out in the street. And it's not gonna be done for this movie coming up, The Wizard of Oz is coming up, so that's gonna be a zoo, I think. Could be wrong, but, so we could use a couple more spaces to make that much of a difference, but there have been big picnics up there, what, nobody see people park on the grass and whatnot, so a couple more spaces might help, we'll see if we can do six. That's all I got.
Thank you, Joe. Public Works, Nino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The line, the painting line, they're all done, all over done, I believe. Joe, right?
Yes, sir.
They do very good. And then sometime, if it's early next spring, we can just, if they were out, we can just patch it up a little bit. Not only that, the parking paving lot was done, but also we have other streets that were done. Chartier Park, which he mentioned, the chairman, Bluff Street, Ellis Drive, Nancy, Missouri Avenue, Crestview Drive, and Grandview Avenue. Those streets that I mentioned, they were all paved. It was a great road program this year. I appreciate council take some money out of the budget to do that. The liquid fuel was enough. It is what it is, but it was great paving year time. Good program. Thank you for the council to give us that pleasure. The street sweeping will perform the third week of the month in business district maintenance. Thank you. And the rest, the council has everything else.
Okay. Thank you, Nino.
You're welcome.
Public Safety, Bruce.
Yeah, the Public Safety Committee met, several items were discussed. One of the things coming out of it was the parking on Station Street. And there will be, the ordinance will be put together, and then there will be a hearing on it, so we can discuss other issues at that point when the hearing happens. And also came out of it is there was a request for some stop signs to be put in the alley. We call it Mary Wise's alley behind her house. The cross street of where Oak Way is, we need an ordinance to be drawn up for a stop sign, two-way stop sign there. And Joe will get you the details. So I need a motion for that. I'll make a motion for the stop signs.
I'll second.
If you want, just parliamentary procedure under the new law, you need to first make a motion
Yeah.
to amend the agenda.
I'll make a motion to do that.
I'll second your motion to amend the agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Now I'll make a motion for that.
I'll second your motion too.
All in favor? Opposed?
What's that second motion for?
And motion carries. The stop sign?
For the stop signs.
Oh,
First one was to amend the the agenda. I'll second.
Sorry.
That would be to create it now. It will be on next month's agenda.
And that's all I have. Thanks, Bruce. You can tell there are a lot of moving parts going on in town right now with all the construction. Traffic is increasing on the day, and trust me when I say this, it's going to get worse before it gets better. So please be patient. We're trying to address some of the things that help facilitate the move through town, and we're addressing them as they come up. So appreciate your patience. Mayor, Betty Copeland.
A fundraiser is taking place on Wednesday at the Jackalope. The proceeds go to cover the cost of the licenses for the movies that are being shown at Cook School Park. And we hope that you will attend. It says, "Come enjoy special Wizard of Oz cocktails, drinks." You may dress in your favorite costume from the Wizard of Oz. There will be a 50-50 as well as gift raffle baskets. That's at 7 o'clock on Wednesday. Another letter from the Knights of Columbus from Corpus Christi Parish reminding us that the September 11th observance will take place at Holy Child, Corpus Christi Parish, and the keynote speaker will be our Senator Devlin Robinson. That's at 1 o'clock on Sunday, September 11th. And I'd like to thank the Public Works and Joe Power for the repairs made to the Memorial Library box at Cook School Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Police Chief Chad King.
Thank you, Council President. I provided you with a written report. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to provide any answers. The only thing I have is that the sergeant's promotional exam is moving along. We gave the written test last month. 2 officers have made it to the next and final step, which will be the oral examinations, which will be administered on August 23rd. And if everything goes well, we're on track to promote a new sergeant at the September council meeting.
Great. That it?
That's it.
Solicitor Tom McDermott.
Thank you. I don't have anything to add to my written report.
Thanks, Tom. Borough Engineer John Hobbs.
We filed our written engineer's report. There's a couple of update items. Starting paving program, as we discussed, the asphalt work's done. We're meeting with the contractor tomorrow morning to do the preliminary punch list. We're also working with them to get their schedule on when they're going to get the guide rail and line striping down the park. Regarding the park, the contract documents for the lane contract have come back in. We'll have the pre-construction meeting this week to get that project started. A lead time to obtain the light fixtures and install. Warner Avenue and Union Street wall repairs, slope repairs. Contract documents are finished, so we'll have the ad and everything ready for next month's meeting and go out to bid for that project.
Are we looking at construction this fall?
I'd like to, yes. I think the biggest thing is just if we get the steel beams. Materials are still somewhat in shape. The light remediation program, the structure demolitions, we have the grants for those. Construction works scheduled to start next week. And regarding the sewer projects, we are working on final stuff with the regarding our outstanding portion. Also, the RX4 report is due end of September, so that will have to be submitted. The office grant is completed.
Okay. Any question?
That property down there, 97, the Aldwood Street property that's being torn down for blight, is that lot usable after that point, or no?
It is.
Okay.
Which one is that? Is it down by the bend behind Bruce's?
It's down close to the bridge.
On the red, on the big red building, right across the creek from Bruce's, the one behind it. Yeah. Good. Any other questions? The engineer? Okay, fire chief. Fire assistant chief.
We've had a pretty busy month, I don't know the exact number of calls only. We've been pretty busy. We're also doing a couple fundraisers out there. Our last fundraiser was, Christmas in July, we had a winner. We also, as right now, we've got our gun bash coming up in 2 weeks. See any member of our Facebook page, we have a link if you wanna buy it. We also have a, truck going off, brand new Chevy Silverado. All you guys will see it, one of the evening, it's down by Dairy Dog, so feel free to get an ice cream cone and get a ticket, brand new truck, or if you don't want the truck, there's a cash option available. So all details are on the ticket or our Facebook page. Just contact any of myself or any members of the fire department for any details. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Southbridge EMS, Dan Miller.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple things. We have some expansion into Bridgeville. For the next year or two, we're going to be locating our billing office on Hickman Street. So if you have any questions with your ambulance bill, they can be addressed locally. We're doing that in order to enhance our overnight staffing. We had to create some room for another ambulance crew to be on duty. To be on duty. We also added a new ambulance to accommodate that. It took us 1 year and 8 months to get this rig and kind of finally get it on the road. So it's taking quite a while once you order one to get it in. And then once you get it, the price tag is about $240,000. So really fun. We also ordered another ambulance to replace the ambulance that needs replaced, and that one is 2 years away. So yeah, ordering equipment is not fun at all. So, but that's all I have.
And you gotta stay ahead of it, I guess. Huh?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Anything from Mary Wise? Mary?
No.
Anyone from the library? Parking authority, not here. Planning commission. Justine, you had something?
Well, there was no planning commission meeting last month. There was a comprehensive plan review with which neither of us were in attendance. So outside of the notes that are on the list here, I don't have anything to say, except for the fact that everybody needs to do the survey so that we can find out exactly what Bridgeville citizens want from the borough in the future. So,
Where's the survey at?
hey,
Okay.
I'm sorry?
The flyer.
The flyer, okay? There's the flyer right there, and if you need a paper survey, we will give you a paper survey.
Okay.
Yes.
You know, there's some young people here in the audience. I would encourage them to do the survey too.
Oh, yes,
because
please. Yes.
we're doing
Because we're trying to get I have no
Explain
way
what
of
we're doing.
people in Bridgeville to tell us what you need, so, okay? That's it.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, the comp plan is like a roadmap for what you want the community to look like 15, 20 years, or even more down the road. One thing, while you guys weren't there this last time, we talked a little bit about a public event to get people to show up in person and see some of the different ideas in place, and also to pick your brain for you to give us some more ideas. So we're hoping to put together a really interesting public event where you will be encouraged to attend. There's some things that we're trying to plan. We're just trying to get the right environment to do it. So there'll be more on that. I don't want to say too much that it doesn't happen. Borough Manager, Joe Coward.
Yesterday's electronic and household hazardous waste collection event was pretty successful. 149 citizens participated, and a little over 14,000 pounds of material was collected, so it was another good year. We touched on the demo projects, like you asked. The majority of the flood demolition work has been completed. All the properties that we were able to acquire have been raised, and hopefully we'll be able to close this project out. Please, someone there. Get the mouse into it. I'm sorry. I think they're cloud. Yeah. We're hoping to close out the project project at next month's council meeting. There's a number of punch list items. Some damage that happened last week with a machine that kind of extended this project longer than we were thinking, but hopefully it can get quickly resolved. Like John was saying, the other demolition work that's from the blight grant, the grant to the COG, work's supposed to be starting next Friday, and that's gonna take 2 to 3 weeks. There's 2 locations, the one on Barnhill Road in Presley, that have some traffic issues along with it, but they'll have flaggers and traffic comes when they're out on the road, so hopefully that's resolved. That's really all I had. If there's any questions on the report, we have to answer.
Any questions for Joe? Okay, anything under new business?
Oh, I'm sorry, I do. The Bridgeville South Bay Rotary has decided that Chili Cook-Off will be on October 9th at Fairview Park. That is unfortunately a Steeler game, but because we were not fast enough to get on the bye week for the Rotary Foundation Pavilion, we were not able to reserve that weekend. So it's going to be on October 9th. And we are planning on putting a big, huge screen up to be able to watch the Steeler game there for part of the party.
Joe, thank you to honor my birthday. Only 88 that day.
There you go. Perfect. It's my birthday too.